What's up, Pio Pack? Today we're back here with another episode of the Pio Pack Pod, episode 3. Today we have special guest Carlos Fuentes. Carlos is a member of our Denver basketball team here. He's a senior. There's a special story with Carlos. Carlos actually is an international student from Alicante, Spain, and he, like most international students, cannot receive NIL deals. NIL deals are name, image, and likeness deals they can do with various companies and whatnot. So when he found this out, he actually took an initiative upon himself to help his teammates receive NIL deals. So Carlos, can you want to walk us through what it's like been to this journey, or like this journey's been like to this point and getting to this point?
To be honest, this journey has been amazing. I feel like it's just it grew a lot really fast. Kind of like almost blew up, when I made it on the news. But it's just the reflection of the hard work and dedication that I've always had. My work ethic is what I'm characterized for, and I'm just happy that it shows off.
Yeah, I mean, from the sounds of it, you really just kind of jumped into the water, not a whole lot of experience. What was that like, just getting your first deal done? Like, what went into that, the time and the effort and just the learnings you had to go through?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to start my career early, and I reached out to people on LinkedIn, and Josh Mason, who's an NBA manager, became my mentor, my friend, and he taught me the process of having having the ability to get deals for other athletes, and of course I had to start small because I was new to this space, but little by little I'm doing better deals with better athletes.
Definitely. And kind of walk us through what that first deal was. I think it was with Saucy Southern Barbecue and a few of your teammates. Just what went into that deal and how did that kind of start?
Yeah, when I first talked to Chris and Kier, the owners from Saucy Southern Barbecue and Cuisine, they were really interested in this opportunity to work with me and 3 of my teammates that I was working with at the time, and they took advantage of my initiative in a good way. I always wanted to help my teammates as well as any business that I work with. So we agreed on having a partnership with the restaurant, and 4 days later, after contacting Josh, I was able to make it happen.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I guess who really initiated that relationship? Was it the owners of Saucy's, or was it your teammates, or you? Like, how did you really find out that was going to be a deal that was going to be a good fit?
First, I needed to get to know my teammates, but thankfully I spent a lot of time with them, on the court, in the locker room, outside of the gym. So I get to know them pretty well, and also ask them questions like, what are your interests? What kind of deals or partnerships do you like? Because at the end of the day, they are representing the brand that they're with and their personal brand. So after talking to them, I found Saucy's and I thought Saucy's was a great fit.
Definitely. I guess some people might not know your journey to here at the University of Denver, but also where you're continuing after. So kind of walk us through what your basketball career has been like and how you kind of made it your way to the University of Denver and what that experience overall was like for you.
My journey has been very different from many other players. I started my freshman year as a student. I was talking to the coach at the time, but during that 2020 COVID year, recruiting was really tough. So after graduating from high school, I had several offers to play basketball, but I prioritized school over anything. And, Denver seemed like a great fit. And I also wanted to play basketball, but school went first for me. So I committed to Denver as a student in my freshman year. I was in touch with the coach, but COVID rules didn't allow me to join the team. However, at the end of the season, the coach, told me, hey, we've seen your videos. We like your work ethic. We want you on the team in the spring. But unfortunately, the coaching staff left, and the incoming coaching staff, which is my current coaching staff, didn't know about my situation. And they already did the recruiting. And when coach came to campus, he told me there was no spot for me. but he allowed me to be a manager for the team. So I became a manager, but I couldn't practice with the team. So for those first 2 years, freshman and sophomore year, I was just working out by myself in the gym, getting in the weight room, just doing everything that I could so that I could be ready in case I had the chance. And thankfully, my junior year, I started as a walk-on, and I was able to play for 2 years.
That's pretty awesome. And I know you've told me before you're going to Columbia University next year. What went into that decision? Like, how long has that been in your head that you're going to go to Columbia at some point? Did you know it was going to be grad school? What made you kind of choose Columbia?
Since I was a little kid, I always wanted to go to an Ivy League. And when I was in high school, I went to the elite camp. I was getting recruited by one of the coaches at Columbia. So I visited the school, and immediately I fell in love with the school in New York City. So that was 2019. And now, towards the end of my undergrad, I was looking to, either work or go to grad school. But I really wanted to, separate myself from others in terms of my academics. So I started to look at sports management programs, which is what I want to do. And Columbia University is the only Ivy League that has that program. So it was a no-brainer for me. I applied to Columbia, and it was actually the only school I applied to. It was either Columbia or figure out a job so I could stay in the country.
Definitely. So I guess I know your journey heading forward is kind of to be a sports agent, just kind of foster those deals for student athletes, but maybe even pro athletes at some point. What really inspired you to become an agent and really help others around you? And I guess what are the steps you need to continue to move forward in that journey?
I think the most influential person in this space was Jaime Alonso, who is a sports agent back home in Spain. He was helping me since I was a little kid. I was like 13, and he already saw potential in me. And now he deals with really big athletes in Europe and G League, NBA. So at an early age, I really liked what he was doing, and I remember asking him questions like, "Hey, like, what can I do to be an agent? Like, how can I do learn from what you're doing?" And it was always in the back of my mind, that route. It was something that really interested me. And now that, I'm here in the United States and I've networked a lot, I still stay in touch with Jaime. And I think it's just, not being afraid to reach out to people that are better than me. Because at the end of the day, I believe that's how you learn. So getting out of my comfort zone and, doing research on my own, talking to people, getting advice, and just, getting as much information and being more educated is the best way to go.
Definitely. I think networking is a great way to, I guess, in the world of sports, is just so influential. I think that's probably one of the ways you got yourself out to New York recently this last spring break, yeah? You also got an offer to be a student coach, I believe, at Columbia. Can you kind of walk us through how you got yourself into that and what most excites you about that opportunity?
Yeah, I was able to go to New York City for spring break, and it was just a great opportunity to network even more. I went to several events with several big brands. I was there with Angel Reyes Muñiz, who, I'm helping getting deals. And my current coach, Coach Mumford, he came from Cornell, and he had a good relationship with the other Ivy League coaches. So when Coach Mumford found out that I was going to Columbia, he put me in contact with Coach Brown. And when I went there to visit, I texted Coach Brown. I was like, "Hey, like, I'm going to be on campus. I would love to, connect with you." And he gave me a tour. He was great. The whole coaching staff was amazing, and offered me a graduate assistant position to start in the fall.
That's pretty awesome. I think one thing that I've really enjoyed watching about your career, but also just other people's careers overall, is just how fast you've grown and the ability you have to network and really leverage your connections. So, I mean, it's been really cool to watch. One of the questions I have for you is, you were in New York. You said you had an athlete you were representing. What kind of deals are you getting done with that athlete out there in New York, and how has that kind of looked for you?
Yeah, I mean, this athlete, like I mentioned, his name is Angel Reyes Muñiz. He's a basketball player, born and raised in New York, but also plays for the Mexican national team. And he's a big-time influencer. So we went to Nike events. He's done stuff with Gatorade, and we're working with some jewelry stores and food companies. I think it's just unlimited opportunities in New York City, and he's just a great player, great person, great friend. I'm just so excited to continue to build that relationship with him and continue to grow.
You mentioned a wide variety of markets that Anhil is kind of going through and like looking at doing deals with. What does a typical athlete do? Do they usually look at one specific market, or are they looking more broad, whatever fits their kind of character and who they are?
I think it's important to fit their character and who they are. At the end of the day, is their personal brand, and they're associated with whatever they show in social media. So I want to make sure that I'm helping my student athletes and professional athletes or whoever I'm helping to get deals that fit them personally. So that is why I like to get to know them in a personal level. I feel like that's a way to help them even more and more effectively.
Definitely. I mean, I think it's just so cool to see how various deals can kind of fit various athletes. What do you think your favorite deal you've done so far is?
Oh, man, I don't know. That's tough. It's hard to pick one, but I really liked the partnership with Sweet Chick, the food company in New York City with Angel. They had great service, great food, and everything just went really smooth. And Angel was very, very satisfied, which is my end goal.
Yeah. Do all deals go as smooth as that one did, or is there always some sort of speed bump? Like, what are those typical speed bumps you might face if you do have those?
Yeah, not everything is smooth. Sometimes there's bumps, like you say. In the negotiation, there may be some things that not both parties agree with, or whether that's like the kind of post or kind of compensation or frequency of posts. So sometimes it takes a long process and a long time, but I try to do it the right way and make sure that we're not taking advantage of any parties.
Definitely. And you mentioned there's definitely a process that goes into that. Can you kind of walk us through what that process is like to negotiate and get the NIL deal in the motion and then finally actually in action?
Yeah, I mean, whether they reach out to you or reach out to them, I think that building a relationship is very important. And then, kind of marketing the athlete that I'm working with. Why is the athlete a good fit for them also? So once you're doing the negotiation, you see what fits best for both. Then there's a contract that is sent to compliance of the school where the athlete plays. Make sure that they're eligible and there's no breaching of any rules and that everything is done correctly.
Definitely. You mentioned compliance. It's a department I'm relatively familiar with. What do you think the steps moving forward need to be in order to best support these international student athletes, as we still know that I think a majority of them, if not all of them, cannot get these deals that the American athletes can. And I think it would be a great way to kind of open a door to allow more international students to come over here and play the sport that they love and get the same opportunity.
To be honest, I don't have an answer for you on what needs to be done, but it is an issue. At the end of the day, the athletes are doing the same job. It's just they're kind of being penalized for the country that they come from. We've seen the example of Zach Edey this year, having a great season with Purdue and openly talking about how he feels like he's losing opportunities to win a lot of money of NIL. And just like him, there's many other international players. So whether that is the NCAA, having a conversation with the U.S. government to make sure that the student visas are, changing somehow so that student athletes can technically work, because the NIL money would be considered work. That I don't know if that could be a possibility, but I really don't have an answer for you. But this is an issue that is going on right now.
And there is legislation being pushed and moved through Congress and whatnot, especially around the visas and all of that. How do you think that would change the game of college athletics overall if they do finally get it so international student athletes get the same opportunity the American athletes get to receive compensation based on their name, image, and likeness?
I think that would be a huge game changer. I mean, we've seen that since the NIL space became a thing. It's changed so much. We might see a lot more international students coming to the United States to play for universities, because although they're playing at a great level in their home country, they could be playing at a very similar level in the United States for university while earning 10 times more. Yeah. So I think this would be a big change for the NCAA. That it could become more like professional players.
Definitely. I think a lot of people say that college student athletes are student athletes because they're here to get an education and they're here to be an athlete. But I think a lot of people overlook the idea that a lot of these student athletes, especially at the Ivy League schools where you can't get compensation or any sort of scholarship for your athletics, can't afford to pay what they have to when they have to go to these schools. So, can you kind of walk us through what that would mean to some of these students and how that could also just provide a brand new opportunity?
Yeah, not every student is able to afford a university, and athletic scholarships help, but not every athlete has a full scholarship. So with the help of NIL, that could be another game changer. There could be more athletes that can play the sport that they love, and financially is not an issue or as much of an issue.
Definitely. I guess, is there anything else you have on insights in NIL that we have not covered, but maybe you think should be known by a lot of people who aren't familiar with the space?
I think you've covered pretty much everything. You've done a great job, but this is a very new space. It's been out for a couple of years. Still very new. The rules are changing constantly. Part of the reason why I want to, accept the graduate assistant coach position at Columbia is because now the coaching staff can be involved with NIL deals. A few weeks ago, that was totally prohibited. So, like I said, it's constantly changing, and I'm just really excited to see how it evolves.
Definitely. How do you think that kind of bolsters or just boosts the NIL space now that coaches kind of can help their student athletes out with NIL?
Promoting, their students, that would be a big change. They will have a lot more media presence, and I believe it'll bring even more deals to the players that they're advertising. I think this is just is a new change, and we'll see how it plays out.
Definitely. I guess as you wrap up your time here at the University of Denver, what are the experiences you've enjoyed most just being around campus and on the basketball team and also just with peers in the Daniels College of Business and whatnot?
I've had many great experiences at the University of Denver. It's a place that I'm going to miss. So it's really hard to pick a few, but just spending time with my teammates on and off the court, that's something that I will never take for granted. With my other group of friends that are not athletes, getting to know them too and spending time with people that come support us, that also meant a lot to me. Just networking in the business school, making connections with professors and actually getting to know them, what they do for a living, at the end of the day, they're there to help. And I feel like I've been helped by a lot of people because I've made the effort to make those connections. So my experience here has been amazing, and I'll always remember it as a amazing time, amazing chapter in my life, and I'll be back to visit.